Yesterday, a resolution was uploaded on the website of the Sugar Regulatory Administration, purportedly coming from the Sugar Regulatory Board. Resolution number 4 authorized the importation of 300,000 metric tons of sugar on top of what had already been imported in May of this year. This resolution is illegal. The chairman of the Sugar Regulatory Board is President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. As such chairman, he sets the date of any meetings or convening of the Sugar Regulatory Board and its agenda. No such meeting was authorized by the President, nor such a resolution, likewise, was not authorized. It appears that the resolution was signed for and on behalf of the President by Undersecretary Leocardio Sebastian. He was not authorized to sign such a resolution because the President did not authorize the importation. Importations are a sensitive matter, particularly with regard to agricultural importations. Sugar is one such importation which we take great care with. It is a balancing act. The importation has to be carefully studied to protect both the consumer against the rising prices of basic commodities while ensuring at the same time that we do not destroy the local industry. As such, the only response to the query on whether or not an importation was to be made, the President answered, the President did not assent. And it was the Executive Secretary who issued the order to create an importation plan. It was therefore clear that there is no authorization for the importation of these 300,000 metric tons. An investigation is ongoing to determine whether any acts that would cause the President to lose trust and confidence in his officials can be found, or if there is malice or negligence involved. In such a case, if such findings are made, then the only determination left will be how many heads are going to roll. We'll take your questions with the understanding that since this is an ongoing investigation, then we can only limit our answers to those that will not affect the fairness of such an investigation.
First question, Zinky Baticados, IBC.
Hi,
Yes,
ma'am. Good morning po. Ma'am, since the President has now thumbed down this particular proposal of importation of sugar, in the event that there is an insufficient supply of sugar in the country, what will the administration do po?
The Department of Agriculture has indicated the allegedly critical levels of sugar. However, we are also approaching harvest season. This is why the importation calls for a balancing act. Will such importation affect the harvest and the prices of our local growers? In the absence of such a determination, then we cannot issue the resolution should not have been issued with such haste as it appears to have been made.
Ma'am, follow-up lang. Paano po yung mga pag-surge ng prices ng sugar? Paano natin i-address?
Like we said, it is a matter of a balancing act. Now, we just imported last May. Now, we have to determine if another importation, supposedly to address the critical levels that are approaching at the end of the month, will affect the harvest season, which opens in September. So, again, a study is necessarily called for. And in fact, it was the Executive Secretary who issued the instruction for them to create an importation plan. In such importation plan, a determination has to be made about how this is going to affect the incoming harvest.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Next question, Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
Ma'am, klaruhin ko lang, CES po issued an order to create an importation plan. Iba po yun dun sa lumabas na sugar order number 4.
Oh, definitely, yes. So it was a directive, actually. It was verbally issued so that the President can make a determination later on whether or not the importation is actually warranted.
So, would you say possibly hong miscommunication ito?
No. You don't convene the Sugar Regulatory Board in the absence of the President and in the absence of any such approval on his part. He did not approve the convening. You can only convene the board with the assent, explicit assent of the President, and he did not make such an agreement.
So while the investigation is ongoing, ano po ang status ngayon ng mga official ng Sugar Regulatory Board or Commission?
They are under investigation.
Pero are they still, officially holding their function?
There is no preventive suspension issued as of right now. So,
thank you.
Next question. Neil Mercado, Inquirer.
If wala na pong questions on sugar, if I can go to another topic.
if we can answer it.
Okay. Ma'am, how much of a concern is disinformation to the Marcos administration?
I'm sorry, I need to know what the basis of your question is.
Because may mga nagsasabi na yung win po ni President Marcos was full of parang maraming disinformation during the campaign that helped boost yung campaign ni President Marcos. So maybe how much of a concern is disinformation to this administration?
If any illegal acts have been committed, then the proper venue for that would be the courts. So that's our only reaction here. The freedom of speech is prevalent in this country. It's guaranteed by the Constitution. People can say that. People can talk about it. They can discuss these matters. But no such wrongdoing has been committed.
Thank you po.
You're welcome.
Kat Domingo, ABS.
Good morning, ma'am. We understand that yesterday the President held a meeting with the Department of Trade and Industry with regard to fertilizers.
Yes.
May we know what was discussed in that meeting?
Well, as you know, foremost on the President's mind is to protect our agricultural industries, our agriculture. And part of the concerns of our farmers are the prices of fertilizer. So this was among those things that were discussed by the President with the DTI Secretary.
Since the DTI was involved, will price caps be implemented over several ingredients of fertilizers or raw materials?
We will have to wait for the DTI to make a recommendation on that.
Job Manahan, ABS-CBN Online.
Good morning po, ma'am. Job Manahan po from ABS-CBN. Regarding po dun sa fertilizers pa rin,
yes, sir.
May mga bansa po ba na tinitingnan na pagkukunan po ng fertilizer supply since na-mention po before ni President na parang he's planning to write a letter personally to governments regarding this?
The President will make an announcement as to the whatever countries when he does write such letters.
Okay po. Tapos, regarding naman po ito sa state of calamity declaration nationwide because of the pandemic, ma'am, former President Rodrigo Duterte's proclamation extending the state of calamity will end na po because of the pandemic in nearly a month or on September 12 this year. May info po ba if President Marcos is keen on extending this?
It will depend on the recommendation of the DOH. But we will make the announcement when the time comes.
Okay po. Yun naman po.
Any other questions? Kat Domingo, ABS-CBN.
Ma'am, yesterday, the Presidential Legal Counsel issued several statements against defeated mayoralty candidate in Quezon City. May we get the palace's comment on that issue?
There is no comment. The visit was just a social call.
So there is no truth to observations that the former congressman may be appointed as the next MMDA chief next year after the one-year ban?
Right now, we have no information on that. As you know, you're right. There is a one-year ban, so there will be no announcement as to who will be appointed, even assuming that it's going to be him. So right now, that's in the realm of speculation.
Ma'am, on a related point to that question, please.
Yes, sir.
Kasabay po nung pag-call out na yon ni Chief Presidential Legal Counsel ay yung panawagan na, and I quote, mag-ingat tayo that we may be construed as carelessly showing an arrogance of power in our behavior as public persons, especially if we are somewhat identified with the current regime. Does the palace share that sentiment of the Chief Presidential Legal Counsel?
The palace has no reaction.
Thank you.
last question. We have two more questions. Left, Narciso.
Secretary, nitong mga nakaraang araw po o linggo, marami yung mga anti-illegal drug operations. Anti-illegal drug operations po.
Okay.
Ano na po ang policy ni Pangulong Marcos sa campaign on illegal drugs?
Tuloy po ang campaign laban sa illegal na droga at pinagkakatiwalaan niya ang kanyang Chief PNP na mag-set ng polisiya at direktiba ukol dito. Nilabas naman po ni Chief PNP na tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang operasyon and they will be compliant with the law pursuant to this.
Chris Jose, remate.
Ma'am, statement lang po sa pagkamatay ni Ms. Ligia de Beca Mercado.
Issuein po namin mamaya na sa, the President will be issuing his own statement. So let's just wait for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Michelle Gilang.
Good morning, Secretary Trixie. My question is about yung sugar issue pa rin po. Paano po naging illegal yung importation kung dati naman po siyang ginagawa at may order ang SRA, especially now po na manipis yung supply ng sugar at kaya po mahal yung presyo sa market. Also, kung illegal po yung SRO, paano po i-hold accountable yung mga nakapirma sa order kagaya po ni SRA Chief Serafica at ni DA Undersecretary Sebastian? May sanction po ba yun? At kung di pala approve at nagpirma sila, parang we can say na bypass po ba ang presidente?
Well, in order to issue a resolution, they should have met. The meeting was not authorized. Only the President, as the chairman, can call for such a meeting. Number one. Number two, the resolution was issued in the President's name. It was signed for the President by Undersecretary Sebastian. Such signing was not authorized by the President. His assignment as the alternate of the President is merely to be present in those meetings where the President cannot attend. It is not a delegation of authority to call any meetings or to sign any resolutions in the absence of the President's awareness that such a resolution is to be issued.
Thank you po.
You're welcome.
And last question, Jinky Baticados.
Ma'am, sorry. Sundutin ko lang po yung sinabi ninyo, ma'am, ngayon.
Sorry.
On that particular thing po na, that alone, alam nilang illegal, hindi naman to baguhan ng mga nasa SRA.
Well, may isang baguhan.
Okay. But even if, ma'am, syempre may mga tao po sa paligid nila. So, that alone po ba, hindi siya makukonsider na talagang since alam natin na illegal yon, hindi ba yun magiging dahilan para, automatic naman ka na academic, alis ka dyan kasi naging irresponsible tayo?
Kaya nga, pero naniniwala din ang Presidente sa due process. Tignan natin kung ano ang dahilan, kung bakit minadali nila ito. Nag-convince sila na walang kaalam-alam ang Presidente and bibigyan sila ng pagkakataon i-explain yung panig nila. Pagka hindi satisfactory yung kanilang mga explanations, then the appropriate penalties will be imposed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sec?
Sige, one more.
One more, Miss Tuesday News. Easy double B.
Hi, ma'am. Panghabol lang, ma'am. Gusto lang naming malaman, ma'am, kung ano po ang status ngayon nitong si Yusek Leocadio Sebastian at saka itong si SRA Administrator, knowing na nagkaroon nga ng ganitong parang glitches dito sa ginawa nilang resolution. And kailan po kaya yung balak ni Presidente na kausapin sila o harapin sila?
Ang status nila, lahat po ng pumirma ay under investigation. Iintayin po natin today if a determination can be made na ma-issuean sila ng preventive suspension order habang tumutuloy yung investigasyon. Pero kung mabilis lang yung investigasyon, makakakita tayo ng mga replacements very soon.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Last.
Last question, Michelle Gilang.
Last.
Follow-up lang po.
Sige po.
May photos po, ma'am, na na-upload sa Office of the President na social media page. Tama po ba na ang kasama po ni President Marcos kagabi ay si Undersecretary Leocadio Sebastian?
Photos. Iniisip ko kung ano kung
If you can see.
Office of the President na page. Hindi ko. Yes. And in fact, there was an opportunity for him to answer, albeit informally. So with an investigation, he has to formally answer.
So there was a possibility po na natakal po yung order na, yung recent order.
Yes. But primarily it was with the Executive Secretary. So like we said, the President was unaware of it. In fact, in-upload nang wala tayong kaalam-alam.
Do we have an info po sa naging discussion ni President Marcos at Undersecretary Sebastian?
None at the moment.
Thank you po.
Okay.
Maraming salamat. Secretary Trixie Cruz-Angeles and Malacanang Press Corps.
Thank you, Ate.